everyone, and welcome to BookTrib's 15 Minutes with, a Merrill Moss Media production. Today we are thrilled to welcome national best-selling mystery author Maia. Maia has written short fiction as well as the fairy tale Fatal series in the Discreet Retrieval Agency. Her second novel, Teetotaled, is the second in a series and was released on October 4th. Congratulations and welcome, Maia. It's so great to get to talk to you today.
Thanks, Beth. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Absolutely. So tell me all about Teetotaled. What's happening in the second book of this series?
So as Beth said, Teetotaled is book 2 in the Discreet Retrieval Agency mystery series. And this is a series set in Prohibition-era New York and Long Island, in this case, sort of the Great Gatsby Gold Coast environment. And in this story, Lola and her Swedish cook and sidekick, Berta, have just started their detective agency, and they've gotten not too far, but then they get a pretty good case. It seems like a plumb easy case, which is to retrieve the diary of a soon-to-be married society debutante who's staying at a health farm in Long Island, sort of a swanky, silly health farm. So they go there, try to retrieve the diary, kind of muck around, failing with it, and then before they can make much more progress, not only is the diary stolen, but somebody is murdered. And they are hired subsequently to find the murderer as well as find the diary, and madcap things ensue.
You have a third book due out next fall.
That's right.
Excuse me. Do you already have a plan for that? Are you following a similar pattern and story as the first two? What are your plans?
It's actually written. I just finished it. I'm about to send it to my editor, actually, in a couple of days. And it's called Gin and Panic.
Okay.
And it's sort of the same thing, although they're in New York for part of the story, and they're also in Connecticut for actually in your neck of the woods, sort of near in the fictional town that's sort of modeled on Stonington, Connecticut.
Okay. Interesting. Well, that's exciting. We'll look out for that. What is your kind of favorite part about this second book in the series? What do you really kind of look at and enjoy about the book?
I really had a good time with my two, they're not exactly gangsters, but these sort of, this villainous pair called Baby Doll and Gogol. And they're sort of two hired thugs who work for a wealthy and powerful man. And they're kind of on Lola and Berta's tail after them. And they get in some serious hot water with these two, but I really enjoyed this sort of other comic duo.
Oh, that's exciting. So can you take us back, just stepping back a little, to when you first started writing? How did you know you wanted to be a writer, and what was kind of your background there?
Well, when I was a little girl, I always said I wanted to be a writer when I grew up, and I was always writing little books, and like every writer loved to read and write. Right. But I also really loved playing the violin, and I ended up going to music conservatory and becoming a professional violinist for a number of years. And then I sort of quit that after some injuries that made it too painful to play violin, and I went back to school for English and sort of fell back into writing quite a bit more then. And then I decided to write mysteries in particular because even when I was in my PhD program for English and reading very serious stuff, at the very end of the day, when I was in bed and getting ready to go to sleep, I'd be reading a cozy mystery. And so I love the genre, and I wanted to, have my little part in it.
Absolutely. So is that still your go-to genre to read or have on your bedside table?
Yeah, I read all sorts of things, like a huge range of fiction and nonfiction, but it's sort of my comfort food reading.
Okay.
I have a hard time falling asleep, and that's what gets me there. Not that it's boring, but because it's relaxing and comforting,
Absolutely.
I'm like happy place.
Absolutely. Who do you have any books right now that are in like your to be read pile or some favorite
Yeah,
authors?
right now I'm reading MC Beaton's
Okay.
newest Agatha Raisin mystery that just came out a couple weeks ago. And I've been really enjoying it. I devour those and then have to wait a whole year for the next one. So, yeah.
So for those just kind of starting out in the genre who are writing mysteries and trying to get a step in the door, what would you say is most important or a little piece of advice you have to offer to them?
Mm-hmm. Well, what I've run into, and I've written some things that haven't gotten published, so I have and I've also some things that I have gotten published, I had to sort of, revise to get them there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that the thing that people want to read, and I personally want to read, and then what I feel, I can't speak for them, but what I feel like editors and agents want to see is a really unique and crystal clear voice in the genre, because there's in the cozy mystery genre, for example, there's just a fairly I wouldn't say rigid, but there's a fairly set sort of framework for what you can do in terms of like the extent of the crime and what the community's like and things like that. So what you need to do to stand out is have a unique voice, which is actually why I now am writing everything in first person, because I feel that it's easier to sort of embody an individual voice like that.
Absolutely. So you also have another series, which we haven't talked about, which is a fairy tale fatal mystery. That includes, for those who haven't discovered it yet, that includes the Snow White Red-Handed, Cinderella 6 Feet Under, and Beauty, Beast, and Belladonna. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that series and maybe kind of the overlying theme of the 3 books?
Yeah, so those 3 books, and there are just the 3 books, although I think I may write a sort of little novella to tie up some loose threads for fans. That is Victorian era set, and it's an American heroine who's a variety hall actress who finds herself in Europe, where some people take fairy tales pretty seriously and even, in a way, murder over them. So they're not exactly fairy tale retellings so much as I take the fairy tale and the sort of true history of a fairy tale and wrap it into a murder mystery.
Oh, how interesting. So do you have plans for another series? Are you going to be continuing the Come Hell or High Ball series? What's your plans after next fall? Because I know you mentioned the 3rd book comes out next fall.
Yeah, so after the 3rd book, there is definitely going to be a 4th book in 2018, fall 2018. And then I can't name names, but because I haven't inked it, but I do have a brand new contemporary series that will be coming out. The 1st book will be coming out this spring.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, hopefully we get to talk to you again and we'll know all about it. So that sounds really great. Yeah. Which genre for you puts you maybe a little more out of your comfort zone than others? And would you ever maybe attempt to write in that other genre?
I have a really hard time writing serious. And it's not because I'm not serious, but I think the sort of like lighter caper and humor stuff is sort of escapist for me, even at therapy as writing. And at the same time, I'd really someday love to try to write a serious thriller, although every time I sort of think about it, it starts getting madcap and silly. So I don't know if I've got it in me.
So Halloween is coming up. Are you a big Halloween person? Do you like to dress up?
I sometimes dress up. I have two kids, so Halloween, and they're little and getting older. They'll be 4 and 6 this Halloween, so they're super into it now, and they've been planning and changing their minds about their costumes for like months now. So we'll definitely be doing trick or treating here.
Well, I think you have some good ideas of characters from your book, so I think that would be helpful if you ever wanted to do some dressing up. That's great. So what else for you is kind of on your bucket list as a writer? Do you have things that you want to try, that you're hoping to get to?
Yeah, I do. I have a whole pile of things. As I mentioned, I really want to finish up this sort of fairy tale fatal novella that will tie together, especially the romance that was left unfinished in the first trilogy that was published. I am working, trying to finish up now a science fiction adventure novel that I'm writing with a friend.
Oh.
That's because it's with her and everything. It's not super serious. It still has some humor, sort of along the Indiana Jones line, I guess you would say. But want to get that finished and out the door, and a couple other little projects. So I have too many ideas for the amount of time I have to execute it.
Well, we look forward to all of the books coming down the pike, and of course, Teetotaled, which is out now. You can go buy it. And actually, if you come to BookTrib.com, we have a little goodie bag giveaway. So you will receive Teetotaled, and you also receive a fun goodie bag. So enter to win that, definitely. And thank you so much, Maia. It was so great getting to chat with you. And we wish you the best with this new release, and we look forward to the next book down the way here.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
You too.